Hi all of you. Good morning. Online, offline, फिर कम करो. Hi Viraj, Adish, Archit. Good morning, good morning. So yeah, there are two group of students right now in the class. One are our GS students and the others are the geography optional students. The reason why I make this a part of the geography optional is because there is one topic in geography about geopolitics. And generally in the regular foundation classes, I can't give more than 2, 3, 4 classes like the maximum. But geopolitics is far more broader. And I think with geography optional, this topic is one important area that you must master. With geography, you must have advantage in 4 sections. Okay, one is geography itself. Second, you master environment, disaster management. You also master IR and some topics of security, and then some topics of social issues also of paper 2. Issues related to population, demography, women issues, disparity aspects. And these are questions almost every year. Pakka aayega questions. If this time, if you have seen the paper 1 questions of GS, we had good topics. Okay, demographic winter, importance of women in development planning. So all those are relevant to geography also. Okay. And the GS Foundation students, till last year or last batch, we used to have 1 unit completion. Start with geography, finish geography. We start with history, finish history. But I realized that sometimes it does get a bit monotonous. So from this batch onwards, that you are part of, GS guys, so now we'll have the main subject like politics going on, and in between we'll squeeze in 10, 12 days of IR also. That's where you have some change of topics without getting monotonous. Okay? So international relations, IR topic, part of GS paper 2. International relations, IR. Okay. Now, every year you have 3, 4, 5 questions on this. Okay, because there are 4, 5 topics. Let me show the syllabus to all of you. In fact, you all can do this. Write down the syllabus, all of you. Okay, I am show you the page. Yeah. So that's the syllabus here. You all can see this. Yeah. So these are the topics. One is India and its neighborhood relations. Likho up all of you. The syllabus, India and its neighborhood relations, bilateral, regional, and global groupings and agreements involving India or affecting India's interest. Bilateral, regional, global groupings and agreements involving India and or affecting India's interests. We're talking about groups like NATO, like SCO, okay? They're bilateral or regional global groupings, such as ASEAN, okay? The next is effects of policies and politics. Effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries. Policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests, comma, Indian diaspora. Some policy China has, how it impacts India. Say, think of China's policy towards Taiwan. Some policy Russia has, how does that impact India? Is policy around gas resources, for example. Some policy Germany has, okay. So what are the policies and politics of developed and developing countries and how those impact India and India's interests? And Indian diaspora. Yes, correct, Nello. China's policy towards Sri Lanka, towards Pakistan. Then important international institutions like World Bank, IMO. Okay, the UN is an institution. Important institutions, agencies, and a fora, various forums. Like G20 is a forum. Okay. G7 is a forum. Their structure and mandate. Their structure and mandate. And all of these are in relation to how they impact India. So broadly, आपके ये 4 broad areas हैं. India and its neighborhood, bilateral, regional, global groupings, effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests, India's diaspora. Har saal, there's one question on diaspora definitely. Okay? Diaspora are people of Indian origin who live elsewhere. Indian origin populations in US, in Russia, in UK, in Africa. Okay, the diaspora are people of Indian origin who live in other countries, and important international institutions, agencies, forum, their structure and their mandate. Okay, that's the syllabus here. Now, books for reading on this. There are a couple of books, but they are too detailed. I don't see how you can read those books with the time crunch you all have. So my recommendation is, don't refer to book as such unless you have some interest. Okay, there's some book by V.P. Menon, book by Sikri, a book by Amitabh Mattu, the very famous scholars, okay, who write on foreign policies. You have Raja Mohan also, he writes on that. So my recommendation is, rather than reading a book, read IR related articles. And a good source, and I follow those, you'll find a lot of discussions I have. I take from PIB. Okay, लिख लो, sources लिख लो आप. Sources, okay. No one book recommended. I'm avoiding books deliberately. Okay? But you can refer to 4, 5 sources like PIB. Okay. Say India and Sri Lanka, just type PIB. You'll get 4, 5 pages of some development there. It's a very convenient source. Okay. The only problem is how to link the developments. PIB is one. E.S. Debarga, ORF is one. ORF. It's a government-sponsored platform for debates, articles, and you've got very famous writers contributing here. ORF is one source. Then you have Okay, Manohar Parrikar, Indian Defense, okay, Institute for Strategic Studies, Indian Defense Institute for Strategic Studies, Manohar Parrikar. He was our defense minister, he expired, okay, and in his name we have this. But it's a very purana institution hai. Okay, that's one source. Then there are a couple of magazines. If you want, you can look up. One called as The Diplomat. The Diplomat. But my suggestion is don't go after this religiously. Agar kuch specific ढूंढना है, then go into this one. Otherwise, in your newspapers, okay, you can read articles of, okay, Raja Mohan. He writes for Express. Yes, sorry? You can, yes. But see, Raja Mohan is almost like a think tank in Indian IR issues. Okay? Happy Mohan Jacob, absolutely. HAPPY, Happy Mohan Jacob. JACOB, Happy Mohan Jacob. ठीक है, तो ये सोर्सेस थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना. एक्सप्रेस में कुछ आ रहा है, अगर if something is in express, read this, make jottings, and you are done with it. Okay, recently, I think 1 or 2 days ago, Raja Mohan wrote an article on Middle East crisis. Okay, so it's a nice source. So I will also follow this source largely. Okay, यही source होगा, and Hindu also, yes, you're right. Hindu comes in, but not as frequently. But yes, you can of course refer to Hindu also. Okay? So that's your source, your syllabus. Now the questions that they ask, okay, I will show that to you. In GS paper 2, you have 4 to 5 questions. 4 to 5 questions. I just want to show you some patterns here, okay, so that you know, you go back and study it afterwards. So I have an old question paper with me. I didn't get, I forgot actually. कोई नहीं, आप देख लेंगे इसको. Yeah. So look at this one here. Question number 9. 9 is, okay, WHO के बारे में है, and 10 is Indian diaspora. Okay. Question number 19 is Quad. Quad is one of the, okay, forums बोल लो, dialogue platform बोल लो, and 20 is about Indo-US defense deal. So 9, 10, 19, 20. ठीक है? आप इसके पहले साल में देखो. The previous year. 1919 का पेपर देखो. The time has come, India, Japan. Question number 9. 10 is about UNESCO. 19, image of India in the marginalized nations, okay, and the emerging global order. And 20 is again about US, India in global strategy, and India's self-esteem ambitions. So again, 9, 10, 19, 20. So you should know this, you know, when you are attempting a paper, how are they repeating, what the pattern repeating? 18 में देखो paper, in 18 again, 9 is India, Israel, and 10 is about Central Asia. Okay. Again 19, WTO, as an institution, and 20 is US-Iran nuclear pact. See, almost pattern hai. If I have this with me, let me check. Just a minute. Yeah, again, this year's paper, again 9-10. 9 was about the West, India and China as a part of Chinese political economic dominance. And question number 10 was on Central Asian republics. 19 was on terrorism and threat to global peace. And 20 was on importance of Maldives for India. So, ये 4 question होता है. In some years, they also have added a 5th question. Okay, so in your notes, write down this point here, that question paper 2, question 9, question 10, question 19, and question 20. And question 20. 9-10 जो questions होते हैं, they are generally 10 markers. 9 and 10 are 10 markers. And 19-20 are 15 markers. The first 10 questions are 10 markers. The next 20 questions are 15 markers. Okay? So 4 questions, and that's a pretty heavy share of paper 2. Out of 20 questions, 4 questions are on IR. Okay? So that's one. Achha. For IR, we are 2 teachers. I'll be taking some of the classes along with Tejal madam. Okay, and Tejal Khandelwal. I'll introduce to her to the class when I reach that point. I'll let you know then. Okay? So between us, we almost have say 45, 65 type ratio. Yes, correct, Ganesh, correct. Yeah, Tejal madam. Tejal madam, she otherwise is a PSIR teacher. And I'll take up whatever I can as a part of. And I didn't get it today. All the geography students must also look up the syllabus of your geopolitics. Paper 2 mein hai. Okay, you can have a look on that. So we have discussed something in the class. To that, add all of this. Okay, let's start off now. The first topic we'll discuss is India and neighborhood. India and the neighborhood. Now, when we say neighborhood, what do we mean? There is an immediate neighborhood. Areas which share maritime boundaries with India, or areas which share land boundaries with India. Immediate neighborhood is land, a boundary we are sharing, or we are sharing maritime boundaries. So, we're talking about Pakistan, we're talking about Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. We are leaving out China. China is not a part of India's neighborhood strategy. It's too big a country. There's too much of conflicts between India and China, a lot of competition there. So these are the smaller ones. Okay. So these are part of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. The other aspect of neighborhood is the extended neighborhood. So these are more distant countries. Okay, so if I'm looking at India's world's map, something like this kind. So this is, say, Africa. Say that's India, Myanmar, Thailand. We also have Australia here. So if I add these countries, if I add countries of Eastern Africa, if I add Middle East, Iran here, Thailand, okay, we have got Indonesia here, Australia here, then this is called as the extended neighborhood. Okay, so African countries, this is Middle East, this is Iran, okay. Beyond Myanmar is Thailand, we have Malaysia here, Singapore, Indonesia, okay. The East African countries mein, we have got South Africa, Mozambique, Swaziland, we have Tanzania, okay, we have Kenya, Somalia, Djibouti, okay, the East, and of course Madagascar also. We also have Madagascar here. Okay, there are the names, East African countries. Okay, no 4-5 of them. South Africa, Swaziland, a small country here. Swaziland. We have this country here is Mozambique. Okay, we have South Africa. We have Swaziland. We have Mozambique, Tanzania, Kenya, Somalia, Djibouti. We can also add Ethiopia, southern Middle East, which includes Yemen, Qatar, UAE. We have Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Actually, ठीक है, not wrong there, but it's further north. Oman, yes. In fact, I should have put Oman here. Oman. You put Iran alag se. Iran, this is part of the western side, sharing, yes, the islands. Islands mein you have Madagascar, you have got Seychelles, you have got Mauritius. ये 3 islands हैं, Madagascar, Seychelles, Mauritius. This is the Arabian seaside. Eswatini. Your friend says Swaziland's a new name is Eswatini. Yeah, thanks. Eswatini. It's a small country, yes. This is the Arabian Sea side and the Bay of Bengal side. We have Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Australia. This is called as the extended neighborhood. Okay? But then these countries, if I exclude Australia, they also are part of a group called as ASEAN. So we don't have a separate policy, we include all the countries of ASEAN. So Vietnam, Laos are further away. Okay? Further away. Okay, so putting that on the map, if this is the equator, IR topics, you must have a fair control on drawing the maps. So see and draw whatever you can. Sorry. There's equator here. Sumatra, Java, New Guinea Island, Australia, Madagascar. Somewhere here is Mauritius. Somewhere here is Seychelles Island. This is Maldives. Okay, this is Madagascar. This is Mauritius. This is Seychelles. This is Maldives. And this group of islands are Indonesia, Australia, this tip here, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. This is Myanmar. You can have a sense of Vietnam, Laos are here. Okay, so this ASEAN part becomes part of what's called as Look East policy. Africa becomes part of Focus Africa policy. This is Focus Middle East policies. Okay, so we have a separate policies for this, but this is called as India's extended neighborhood. All good here? So we have immediate and we have extended. Can I move on from here now? Okay. So now we have a policy called as neighborhood first policy. Neighborhood first policy. This policy was started under Dr. Manmohan Singh in 2008. इसके पहले 1996-97 में we had a policy called as the Gujral Doctrine. But for the second term of MMS, UPA 1 and UPA 2 था आपका. UPA 2 was kind of entangled in too many issues of corruption, coal scam, 2G scam and all of that. So इन्होंने शुरू तो किया 2008 में, but nothing much really happened here. Okay, they took initiatives, they started an idea, it was under the present PM Modi 2014 2015. This policy was revived. This policy was revived. No, that's the narrative we have. India mein somehow lately that policy or the narrative is जो कुछ भी कभी हुआ है under PM Modi ही हुआ है. So that's the narrative we have. ठीक है, but it's not like that. Lot of things. See, these kind of things, it's not a work of one government or one person. Foreign policy is like an evolving thing. You start off with some idea, you work, it doesn't work out, you again change, you modify. So things like space policy or nuclear policy or trade policies or agriculture policies, they're never the work of any one government. No government can say, I did it alone. In fact, our entire government of India, jo Act tha 35, that's what ultimately became India's constitution also, right? So I cannot say everything was indigenous. There will be some nuances, something added, some removed. So aisa nahi hai. The actual initiative was taken by Gujarat Doctrine. But iske pehle, it's not that India did not have relationship. We had a relationship with Bhutan. 71 ke time mein India created Bangladesh. 80s mein India was involved with Sri Lanka. Rajiv Gandhi had sent IPKF force, as supporting Sri Lanka against LTT. So aisa nahi hai ki everything started only here. But yes, this was a very important landmark event. Some things changed here. And then they kept on building this. But for 4 or 5 years yahan par, when the government was kind of trapped with too many charges and issues around corruption, so this part almost became silent. Now it was revived and during the swearing in ceremony, he invited all the SAARC leadership. Absolutely, yes. And before this also, SAARC was a very important chapter. It was under Indira Gandhi. And unfortunately, almost 30-40 years of SAARC ho chuka hai. But the SAARC governments have met only, I think, 17 or 18 times. So it has been trapped, but it's also a part of a South Asia policy. Okay? So this is where it starts. So I have some idea about stories. You keep writing down as I speak. The policy was neighborhood first policy. And I said it has a very old history. You can mention this, that India has a relationship, very old historical relationship raha hai, with Nepal. We'll talk about the treaties, the friendship, cooperation treaties with Nepal, with Bhutan. We have had policies for Maldives, policies for Pakistan. This was a very important one. SAARC itself was important. The creation of Bangladesh, 71 mein wo bhi important tha steps. These are the precursors. But first conscious step was Gujarat Doctrine. 1996-97. Gujarat Doctrine, followed by 2008 under Manmohan Singh. This was properly formulated. So actual roots dekhoge to ye wala hoga. It was called as this. Iske pehle we didn't call it as this policy. We just call this as Gujarat Doctrine. But the policy itself is Manmohan Singh in 2008. And thereafter it has been revived with some more nuances. Recently you must have heard something called as Project Mosam. It's about linking all countries which have the same culture, the same economy, they share the same conditions like monsoons of India. So wo bhi uska extended part hai. It has now become part of Project Mosam. So this was a brief timeline of what happened when. Now my question is, why this policy? Why do we talk about neighborhood first policy? ये आया क्यों in the first place? What is the history? What was the objective of this? What did we seek to gain from this? ठीक है? So it's like this. So if I divide India's foreign policy as a Nehruvian policy, okay, Nehru was very active in foreign policy. I mean, if I'm not wrong, back then when Nehru was at the center, he would personally, okay, decide on who will be selected as, okay, Indian Forest Service officers. Every appointment of ambassador hain, commissioners hain, they would go through his own paper and from his table. He would interview them one-on-one. He was a very strong believer of a good global relationship, projecting India as one of the countries of importance in the world. So his was, he had a signature in his foreign policy. Okay? He had an, yes, absolutely. No, okay. So the world is divided now. Modi era and post and before Modi era. Before Modi era, everybody is a villain. Okay. See, it's like this. Yeah, your friend is telling us, talking about mistakes Nehru made. Mistakes is a very strong word actually. Dekho, when India wins independence, before that, when you have a relationship with any country, I hope you understand the relationship is not a platonic relationship. Tu acha, main khush, tu bhi khush rahe. Aisa thodi hota hai aise. When countries have relationship, they seek to gain something from it, right? Either you're gaining, okay, defense deals, arms, or you're getting some loans, or you're buying some goods. Okay, there's some deal going on here, for which you must also give out something. Either you're buying things, or you're selling things, or a bit of both. Way back in 40s and 50s, talk about India just out of independence. What could India sell the world? No machines, no agriculture. We didn't even make guns or equipments. And even our population was not the skilled population that the world wanted. And if there was a need, India did supply a lot of doctors, engineers to the Western world. 1950s, 60s was a time when a lot of engineers, lot of doctors went to UK, they went to Germany, they went to parts of US and Canada, yes. But zyada nahi the na. So what could India offer? India can't offer machines that India makes. India can't offer agriculture. We ourselves are short in agriculture. हम क्या बेचेंगे agriculture? Plus human capital भी नहीं है और पैसे भी नहीं है. I can give an aid. All that we have is a very proud history where we fought back with non-violence. Gandhiji was our only product of export, right? And that too as a part of goodwill. What can India buy from other countries? Everything, but we don't have money. I need everything. Machines, guns. Okay. So in these circumstances where I can't sell anything of big significance and I can't buy anything in big significance. So our relationship with the world kaisa hoga, batao? Okay. The only thing you can do in this case is, आप ज्ञान बांट सकते हो, right? So our gyan was, live in peace. Our gyan was, don't fight. Our gyan was, I will have a non-alignment policy. Na aapka hu, na inka hu, ya aapka bhi hu, aapka bhi hu. I'll become a leader of the developing world, inspire them, you also get independence like we did. Okay. So the idea that Nehruvian times was idealistic is not wrong. But it was so because India had nothing else to offer to the world. And India was very sure कि यार किसी झगड़े में फंसना नहीं. Okay, I don't want to be trapped in Korean War. I will not want the Vietnam War. I will not want the Cold War politics into my home. Okay. I'll have no say in what China does for Tibet. I mean, I support Tibetan ideas. If you guys want to come and live here, live here. But Tibet is ultimately undecided for us. We never said Tibet is an independent country, remember this. So it was in those circumstances that we talk about NAM movement, we talk about global disarmament. Look, if I had weapons, I would not say disarmament, will I? I'll talk about disarmament when I don't have weapon. You also give up. You should stop that. When I make my bombs, I'll say fine. If I make bombs, you can also make your bombs. I hope you got the idea here. So it's not that Nehruvian times was pacifist. Okay. As in, hum jhagda nahi karenge. Pacifist because it was our compulsion. Non-alignment was our compulsion. We couldn't afford to get into any conflicts. Yeah? Karan, that's an excuse. But if you ask me genuinely, while you talk about we want peace, we want prosperity, don't fight, don't do this, don't do that, ultimately, we have our fights, right? Okay, we have to attack compulsion and we have to go for the Balakot strikes. If compulsion be it, okay, I probably have to go into Bangladesh if required. Okay, so Nehruvian times bahut alag time tha. Very early history of India. So Nehruvian times, okay, was idealistic. Nehruvian times was not getting trapped in the Cold War. Nehruvian politics was that let's be in good books for as many countries as possible. So I'm good with Middle East, good with US, very good with Russia, good with Indonesia. Africa is like our brothers who are very far away. So we decided that. This was a conscious choice that we are in the good books of most countries. Okay? Yeah, that was definitely, we didn't see it coming. When China attacked, it was unfortunate, correct? Okay. Anu, let's stop that. Okay, it'll take some time to understand what's happening. Okay? So this was Nehruvian. So Nehruvian phase mein, our main objective was find a position in the global geopolitics. This was our ambition. You find yourself on the global map. So India is a country committed to non-violence. India is a country committed to Panchsheel principles. India is a country committed to peace, development, and let's not fight. India refused to enter that Korean war chala tha. India did not take sides at all. And that's one reason why US has been very upset with us. Okay, ye Nehru. But post-Nehru, okay, Lal Bahadur Shastri was for a very short time. Okay, he brought in Green Revolution for India, good for us. Then he died an untimely death. So post-Nehru, the most significant one was Indira Gandhi. And Indira Gandhi, times have changed now. We have become a bit more stronger. We acquired our guns. We have a bit more better economy than otherwise. Agriculture has revived back. Okay, so Indira Gandhi now becomes a bit more assertive about India's role. So under Indira Gandhi, we developed a special relationship with Russia, with Cuba, very strong relationships when we made Bangladesh. So now we are asserting ourselves in a different way. Okay? Yeah, there's some amount of exports also happening under Indira Gandhi. Fine. So post-Nehruvian, now we are asserting, now our game changes as an asserting country in the global geopolitics. अब हमारा अधिकार हम ये करेंगे. I must do that. Okay, I will fight back for the rights that I have, and so on. Okay. This happened, went on. Then what happened was, a major change happened with 1991-92 economic reforms. Okay, I'm giving a very high level. Okay, this policy part, how it evolves, Madam will discuss that. Okay, I'm giving some idea how did we come to the neighborhood policy. Okay, now India has become a bit more robust economically. The 91-92 reforms, and इसी time में China is taking off real big. Till 1980s tak, in many ways, India and China were very well matched. The couple of years where India's per capita income was more than China's. China started its economic reforms in 1978. I hope all of you are jotting down as I speak. Yeah? It comes to important dictation, I'll do that. But right now, just giving an idea to you. Okay. One is the Nehruvian times. I explained what India did and why it did. इसका एक ही objective था, India must be an important player, but we had nothing to offer. Okay, that's why we offered largely idealistic visions. Panchsheel policy was one of those ideals we talked about. Non-alignment was an ideal. Disarmament was an ideal. Okay, so people say Nehru was not a realist. I said, no, Nehru was one of the most realist guy. Okay, and those circumstances, India could have not afford to engage in any other way. Okay? So, Nehruvian times. The Nehruvian times, there's nothing about neighborhood largely. It's all about Cold War. It's about don't join others' war. It's about sell the idea of peace, sell the idea of brotherhood, sell the idea of disarmament, the bigger things. Now you come down to brass tacks. So Indira Gandhi was the important player. Indira Gandhi asserts India now, and Bangladesh, independence was a very important development under Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi also, I said, started off the SARC. A very important part of India's geopolitical ambition. South Asia important hai, you can't ignore this. The SARC was the beginning there. Idea started, didn't happen. But 91-92 economic reforms mein, India is now getting a sense of some amount of power. But understand, ye wo time tha where China is growing very, very fast. China's economic reform started 1978. India's reform starts 91-92. So 12-14 साल का difference था. That's where we end up as today and where China is today. So in these circumstances, now we realize that India's immediate neighborhood is very, very important. Forget about global ambitions. ठीक है, वो करते रहेंगे हम लोग. But you cannot afford to ignore the countries around you. Because 90s mein, the Kashmir problem was at its peak. Big time conflicts. Khalistan problem was at its peak. Okay. Lot of problems of migrations from Bangladesh happening. Okay, so in this time, we said that neighborhood very important. Why? Because Pakistan and terrorism, the Khalistan movement, Bangladesh, refugee issues, the Tibetan refugee issues, and China asserting. And all of them are part of India's boundaries, right? So India says we must do something here. So let the global thing continue, that's okay. But we want something, around India's border also. Correct. Isi time mein, the Northeast crisis also starts increasing. demand for Nagaland, demand for, you know, the demand for Kashmir as a separate unit, separatist movement there. Okay. Lot of funding for Naxalism was again coming from China. China is abetting Pakistan. China is helping, okay, the northeastern, say, groups, insurgent groups. China funding the Naxals. So India said we must do something here. Now, in 1990s, we realized that SAARC is not happening properly. Okay. 1990s mein, one of the biggest success stories of global collaboration was ASEAN. The ASEAN countries were called as, okay, Southeast Asian tigers, growing very, very fast. 1990s also saw, okay, EU coming up, okay, very strongly. The US saw the rise of NAFTA. NAFTA, North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement with Mexico. Okay, so the world is seeing ASEAN is success, EU is a successful one, NAFTA is a successful one. Okay, इसी time में even the African Union, this also was very, very active. African Union. And in India's case, SAARC started with Indira Gandhi, almost 10-15 years, कुछ हो नहीं रहा खास उसमें. SAARC, some consider it to be complete failure. Or SAARC failure may be identified 3 reasons why it failed. One was, of course, Pakistan and its Kashmir obsession. कुछ भी बात करने जाओ, कश्मीर दे दो. Okay. प्यार से बैठो, मैच खेल लो, let's talk to one another. Pakistan was a big blocker with Kashmir. A realization that all other countries were feeling that India is a bully. India has this big brother attitude, which is patronizing. Nobody likes that. Okay. And a realization that India is disproportionately large. Large in terms of area, large in terms of population, and large in terms of economy also. ये 3 चीज था which is troubling SAARC. Pakistan's, okay, stubbornness vis-a-vis Kashmir and Pakistan supporting terrorism was one issue. The second issue was, I said, an alleged perception, okay, a thinking that India is acting like a big brother. Big brother का मतलब क्या है? It's like, मैं बड़ा हूं, आप सब में छत्र छाया में हो. We are patronizing others. Bangladesh and Nepal and Sri Lanka. Okay, we are trying to be patronizing, which is not seen as a good thing. And India is disproportionately large. If India is in a group, India will take all the benefits and we will get nothing. Yeah, same thing, Anu, same thing. Bully or big brother is the same idea. Okay. When you call Salman Khan as Salman Bhai, okay, I don't know if how many of them call him as Bhai as brotherly love. Okay, Bhai because apuni chai idhar, nobody else here. Okay, that was the problem. And India is very large. You can't fight India, you can't compete with India. So India will always take advantage. This idea tha. Okay. So to counter this, Gujral starts his idea called as Gujral Doctrine. Okay. So to counter these sentiments, okay, Inder Gujral, our PM then, he started the idea called as Gujarat Doctrine, which was fundamentally in one sentence, that India should promote a non-reciprocal relationship with its neighbors. India should promote, ये important word है, non-reciprocal relationship with its neighbors. Because India is large. India can compete with all these countries in any product. Pakistan's advantage is sugar. India says we also make sugar. Sri Lanka says we make tea. India says, okay, we also make tea. Sri Lanka says coconut. India has coconut. Bangladesh says cotton garment. India says we also have cotton garment. So how will the relationship be helping? Whatever they make, India also makes. So who will sell to whom? Okay. We expect, if I'm a small country, I'll want the big country buy from me. India बोलेगा कि आप जो बना रहे हो सब तो मैं बना रहा हूं. I would rather want आप बंद करो मुझसे खरीद लो. Right? So there was a lot of asymmetry here. And that's what fueled the idea that India was like a bully. Okay? So in counter, Gujral says, India should promote non-reciprocal, which means in a relationship of India with Maldives, don't talk about what Maldives can give us. Let's talk about what India can give Maldives. We don't want anything in return, non-reciprocal. Okay. Don't talk about what Nepal can give India. Okay. Let's talk about what India can give Nepal. What India can give Bhutan, what India can give Bangladesh, and so on. That's the idea of non-reciprocal. Take all of you? Okay. So, देखो, अब जो पूछ रहे हो Karan, why India could made believe, how India could have done that? यही तो तरीका है. How to tell the SAARC members that we will not bully you by this idea. That in our relationship, I'm okay having a trade deficit also, but deal with us. I'm okay if you want a bit more of funds, you can take it from me. I must not be looking at equal relationship with Maldives and Mauritius and Nepal, because they can't give us what India needs. So in some things, I'm okay losing the trade. Let Sri Lanka take advantage of tea. Let Bangladesh take advantage of garments. Let Nepal take advantage of HEP power. Okay. Let Maldives take advantage of fisheries maybe. We are fine with it. This was the fundamental of Gujarat Doctrine. Okay. So this ultimately becomes the neighborhood first policy under 2008 Manmohan Singh government. All of you here? So now my question to all of you is, why is India's neighborhood important for India? And what is the primary objective of neighborhood first policy? Why is India's neighborhood important for India? And what is the primary objective of neighborhood first policy? Primary objective क्या है? To develop South Asia as the zone of peace, stability and cooperation. To develop South Asia as the zone or the region of peace, a region of stability and a region of cooperation. Why? Why do I need South Asia as a zone of peace? Why do I need South Asia as a zone of stability? I mean, political stability, economic stability, and a region of cooperation. Why? Okay. Now, iska reason ye hai that India has global ambitions. Okay, we have always craved for a position in the world affairs. Even before independence, India played a very important role in the world wars because a lot of soldiers from Britain were Indian soldiers, right? And all the round table conference kya tha? Essentially, will India support the war efforts of Britain or not? Okay. So Gandhiji said, we'll not bargain with them. It's a fight of morality. Okay. Whether they support or not, we will support Britain because fight against Hitler's fascism. Right? Bose says, abhi yahi to mauka hai marne ka. Okay. They're in trouble, attack them. Okay. Join their enemy and fight them. So Bose says, become part. It's not that Bose has special love for Germany or Japan. He just sees Britain is in trouble. So you fight them and stop them. Okay. So he says, I'll align with Japan and Germany. Nehru says, Britain will support you. One condition, go out of India. Give us a written agreement. War gets over and you are out. Okay. So right before independence also, India always sought that global position. Okay. And after independence, India has wanted that. Like I said, Nehru selling the world Panchsheel Gyan and peace ka Gyan. Why? Because India had nothing else to offer to the world. We are a poor country. No agriculture. Okay. No machines. We don't have education proper. We don't have proper skills. We don't have proper military to fight back. So how do I keep myself relevant there? Okay, so I am not a developed country, but I am the bigger one. I have some moral position. So I declare that I am the leader of the developing world. Right? So Africa, mere piche aa jao. Southeast Asia, mere piche aa jao. Central Asia, line up. And now India says that we are the leaders of the developing country. Okay? This was when we had nothing else to offer. Now India has ambitions. Economy hai, technology hai, space is taking off, IT sector has taken off. Okay. So India says, now I can pick up a global power. However, the realization that if my border is not safe, terrorism chal raha hai, drug trade chal raha hai, human trafficking going on. Okay. There is poverty, okay, in Bangladesh, poverty in Pakistan, people escaping Nepal because of unemployment. If the South Asia is unstable, then I cannot be seen as a global power in the world. The first step has to be, I must stamp my position in South Asia. Do you realize what China has been doing all this while? Okay, China says, paise mein baat karo. Any money you require, we'll give it to you. Condition, ye wala land mujhe chahiye for our military base. This route I want, okay, to promote my industries. I'll help you if I can. China has the money, right? Okay, India doesn't have that kind of money. India gives 1 billion to Sri Lanka. China gives them 14 billion. You can't fight those competitions. So the primary objective was to develop South Asia as a zone of peace, a zone of stability, and a zone of cooperation. Why? Number one, to establish India as a leader of South Asia. Okay. If I don't have peace, then nothing can happen. Because they want to do this, a very important position was non-reciprocal. If you always want one-on-one, equal relationship, वो कहीं बन नहीं पाएगा. Okay, Maldives is too small to really benefit India in terms of 50-50 relationship. Maldives will want, you give me more than what I can give you. And if India doesn't give, China will give it, right? China will make their bases. And once China enters, you can't throw them out. Okay. So India says, okay, we must ensure South Asia is zone of peace. It's a zone of cooperation and prosperity. You can add one more word, peace, stability. Iske andar mein you also have prosperity. South Asia has a zone of prosperity and a zone of cooperation. Why? Because to establish India as the leader of South Asia. Second, okay, peace only by non-reciprocal relationships. You want peace, you must have a stable, okay, borders, ताकि smuggling, human trafficking, insurgency is all taken care of. Stable borders to counter smuggling, stable borders to counter human trafficking, illegal refugees, and stable borders to counter insurgency, armed conflicts and insurgency. ठीक है? For peace, we also want to ensure that India can offer a development assistance. India can offer development assistance. It could be in terms of loans, in terms of technology transfers, in terms of loans, in terms of technology transfers, in terms of supporting and developing governance institutions, in terms of supporting and developing governance institutions. Let's say India is helping Afghanistan to train its police. India trains the army of Nepal and Bhutan. India set up the Supreme Court of Afghanistan. India is offering to develop oil terminals in Sri Lanka. Okay, I'll elaborate even. Yes, Maldives Civil Services, correct. So India is helping in establishing governance institutions. India is giving access to cutting edge technologies. India giving access to cutting edge technologies. A space collaboration हम करा रहे हैं. India has launched Bhutan's satellite now. Okay, collaboration for the digital platforms. Collaboration for the digital platforms, space technology, medicine. India has a big medical center for Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Yeah, correct. What we call as medical tourism in India, correct. Okay, so that's about this. Plus, okay, recent times, India says that we also offer support in disaster management. We offer support in the disaster management. All keeping pace with me? Okay. So the primary objective of, I'm repeating, if I missed out, the primary objective of the neighborhood first policy is, okay, to establish South Asia as a zone of peace, a zone of stability, a zone of prosperity, and a zone of cooperation. Peace. One very important thing in IR is you must know the specific words, okay, and use them. Don't use alternate words here. Some words are part document itself. The objective is to develop South Asia as a zone of peace, zone of stability, zone of cooperation, and zone of prosperity. Why do we need to do this? One is to further, okay, India as leader of South Asia, to establish the India's policy of non-reciprocal, okay, relationships. Likha aapne, all of you? To establish India as the leader of South Asia, to establish India as, okay, committed to non-reciprocal policy. Third, to ensure that we have stable borders. To ensure we have stable borders. Because without stable borders, you can't stop smuggling, you can't stop human trafficking, and you will not be able to manage the insurgency problems. Insurgency problems. Terrorists ho, insurgents hain, armed conflicts, so you can't stop that. Okay. To do all of this, what we are doing is we are offering development assistance. We give loans, we're giving loans, we're helping in technology transfers, we are helping, okay, by establishing and supporting governance institutions, okay, civil services, police services, judicial systems. In fact, India also helped to some extent Nepal and Bhutan ko bhi to make their own constitutions. Okay, this is part of your governance institutions. We are giving them access to cutting edge technologies like space mein, like in the digital sector, like Bhutan mein, India's Rupee card works. Okay, they also trying to unify as a part of Bhim also now, right? Those are high-end, okay, technologies. Okay, and I said also help in disaster management. Okay, now in all of this, four things are very important. ये लिखा आपने all of you here. What's the primary objective? To achieve what? And what are we doing? What are we doing is number one, offering development assistance. That's one. Apart from this, I'm saying there are four more very important things. One is, okay, developing and expanding connectivity. ये बहुत important part है of any collaborations. Roads are integrated, railways are integrated, okay, maybe mobile telephony is integrated. So develop connectivity. Connectivity, so road development, you talk about, I said railways integration, that's one. The other thing is, very important is, support export of the key advantage goods and services from the neighboring countries. Support export of key advantageous goods and services from the neighboring countries. Because when India trades with Bhutan, understand this, India will have a huge surplus. India will sell whatever Bhutan needs. Okay. If India has a relationship with Maldives, you think it will be equal. India will end up selling more. So as a principle we said, ki theek hai, what they need we will sell, but if they have some advantage, we'll buy from them also. We'll give them preferential treatments. जैसे भूटान के पास में और नेपाल के पास में big advantages, okay, their hydropower. Even some mines also. A lot of mines in Bhutan. We can have some coal, we can have some, refractory minerals. Okay. So whatever they can sell to us, okay, let them sell. Even if it means I'll stop some of my own production. So India is buying big time from Bhutan and from Nepal. Okay, the HEP power, the power generated. Okay, Sri Lanka में ऐसा नहीं है कि India doesn't have a location for making its own oil terminal. It's a huge country. I can make anywhere I want to make, but let's make in Sri Lanka. So the Sri Lankan, so I'll buy the land from Sri Lanka or take on lease. I'll invest. I'll make the port. The port will refine. I'll give some money to Sri Lanka, okay, and take something back. But more important is the goodwill that we will take back. Okay, so we support export of any key advantages, goods or services from neighboring countries. That was third one. Okay, the second one. The third very important thing is, okay, where possible, India must ensure security and stability of the neighboring countries too. The neighboring countries are not big enough, okay, to have an army or air force or a navy, okay, which can challenge China. Right? India said, okay, then I'll take the responsibility. It's good for us. Okay, that Nepal's security is partly my responsibility. Bhutan's security is partly my responsibility. I'm perfectly fine if I'm offered the same for Maldives. We said, we'll do it. We'll train your army guys also. Okay, we send our Indian Air Force helicopters, planes, submarines. ये अलग बात है. China is trying to append that. Yes. Okay. India's commitment is, if required, India will fight Bhutan's war at our own cost. Okay. So, connectivity development, buying goods at priority from the countries, even if it means, okay, I am losing some, for example, no worries. And I said, India committed to, okay, security and stability, okay, of these countries. And the fourth one is developing human resources of these countries. In human resource, we have education, we have health, education, and a skill development. Skill development, supporting health initiatives, and also supporting, okay, deal with hunger, deal with poverty. Support countries with education, skill development, okay, health, hunger, and poverty. Anu, you're assuming China isn't offering them either. ऐसा नहीं है. India दे रहा है. Trust me, in terms of quantum, China can give them 10 times more. ठीक है? And countries slip into the debt diplomacy of China. What China can invest, what China can, so it's ultimately coming down to trust. Rahul, we'll see that one by one. All done here, all of you? Okay. So this is the broad canvas of what is India's neighborhood first policy. Now I have a good document here. There is a standing committee report. Okay, write down. You can put a line and write down here. Standing committee report summary. Standing committee report summary of India's neighborhood first policy. Standing committee report summary of India's neighborhood first policy. Rahul, क्या था? Oh, Rahul. Developing human resource of the countries. Under human resource, education and skilling, health, removing hunger and removing poverty. Removing hunger and removing poverty. All fine, all of you? Okay. So I'm giving the broad canvas of why do we need the neighborhood, what are we doing? Okay, with what objectives? Now, just last year, in the month of July 2023, the Parliament set up a standing committee on external affairs. Right now, in July 2023, a standing committee on external affairs, submitted its report about what should be priority concerns. What should be India's priority concerns for its immediate neighbors. Within bracket, except China. इसको आप पूरा याद रखोगे and verbatim. I've taken the words. Okay, there is a body called as PRS, Legislative Research. Okay, it's a very popular body that does research on population, demography, poverty, women issues, okay, political aspects. PRS. So I've taken the report straight from the PRS, but I filtered it. I'll give you in brief. ये है document 15-20 पेज का है. I've taken a short summary of this. Okay, you can mention within bracket a summary by PRS, Legislative Research. So what are the issues of priority? Likho 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 1, focus on illegal migrations, smuggling of weapons and drugs, and improving security infrastructure at the borders. These problems create political instability and demographic challenges in the border states. So recommendation was that Ministry of External Affairs should work in tandem with the Home Ministry of India. The Home Ministry takes care of migration, refugees, it takes care of border management, okay, it takes care of law and order issues. So they must work together, okay, not simply, okay, External Affairs Ministry handling the neighborhood policies. That's one. Number 2, special investments in border infrastructure. And expand connectivity through cross-border roads, railways, waterways and ports. Expand cross-border connectivity with cross-border roads, railways, waterways, and ports. It recommends setting up of a regional development fund for regional connectivity. For regional connectivity, all the countries could get together and have one common fund. Maybe India will give the bigger share, and the fund takes care of all these roads, railways, and so on. The part of the border, okay, security and connectivity. Third, defense collaboration is one key component in bilateral relationship. Bilateral relationship. It recommends joint military exercises. It recommends joint military exercise and collaborating with Indian Ocean littoral countries. LITTORAL, littoral countries. What that means? The countries which have coasts on Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka, Maldives, Myanmar, Pakistan. Okay, they are Indian Ocean littoral countries. For enhancing India's, ये keyword है, for enhancing India's maritime domain awareness. For enhancing India's maritime domain awareness. In India's immediate and also extended neighborhood. In India's immediate and also extended neighborhood. The next, tourism and cultural diplomacy. Tourism and cultural diplomacy can be one of the key components. Can be one of the key components. Next. India has huge investments. India has huge investments and fast growing LOC. Fast growing LOC. What's LOC? Line of credit, not line of control nahi wala. Investments, basically loans I'm giving. India has huge investments and expanding LOC, line of credit, okay, to its neighborhood. To its neighborhood. LOC has increased from $3 billion in 2014, $3 billion in 2014 to more than $15 billion in 2020-21. Almost 5 times growth हुआ है, okay, in just about 4-5 years में. Okay. The committee recommends effective completion of development projects. The committee recommends effective completion of development projects, quality control, and timely completion. And timely completion to keep India's investments credible for the recipients. There should be some joint project monitoring. There must be some for क्या लगा पता है आपको मैंने? For the credible benefit of the neighboring countries. आप जब बना रहे हो, इतना पैसे खर्च कर रहे हो, just make sure the projects are done properly, the projects are finished on time, so that the projects can have credible benefits for the countries. If the projects extend, they become costly, right? You have to ensure that the money is used properly. It recommends setting up of joint project monitoring. Setting up of joint project monitoring mechanism. So if you have a project in Bhutan, make sure India and Bhutan have some collaboration to oversee the projects. Joint project monitoring mechanisms. Next slide down. The committee noted that NFP, Neighborhood First Policy, that NFP is very critical for the development of Northeast. For development of the Northeast. Without the Northeast, the extended vision of India under Act East policy, the extended vision of India under Act East policy will not be feasible. Will not be feasible. ये बताएंगे बाद में what's Act East policy. Essentially, India is trying to engage with the ASEAN countries. ASEAN countries, which is around Laos, Vietnam, Thailand. We're talking about Singapore. We're talking about Indonesia, Malaysia. We want to connect with them. एक बहुत पुराना program है called as Ganga Mekong project. Linking the road connectivity up to Mekong River. But to reach out to the Southeast Asia, you need the northeast of India. It has to go through Assam, through Nagaland, through Manipur, across Myanmar, into Thailand and so on. So if you cannot develop the northeast with Bhutan, with Bangladesh, with Myanmar, then you can't reach the Southeast Asia also. तो ये बहुत important key aspect है. Just as I need to develop Afghanistan properly with me to reach out into Central Asia. वैसे ही I must develop the Northeast India and I must develop Northeast with the neighbors, Bhutan, Bangladesh and Myanmar. So that I can connect with the Northeast, Southeast Asia. Write down. India and Southeast Asia is one of the bigger components of India and Southeast Asia is one of the bigger components of India's global and India's Asia vision. India's global and India's Asia vision. Next is The next one is all collaborative projects must counter the threats of terrorism and insurgency from Pakistan and China. From Pakistan and China. It recommends a common platform for countering terrorism. It recommends establishing a common platform for countering terrorism under neighborhood first policy. Under neighborhood first policy. Important one, put a star mark. The committee has also recommended to revive and establish economic ties with Pakistan. Economic ties with Pakistan. Yeah, these points you should know verbatim. If they ask you, what are the recommendations of the committee, discuss the relevance. Or what is the strategy for India expanding its neighborhood first policy? ये सारे points आ जाएंगे. Okay. Investments, LOC, tourism, defense collaboration, maritime security. You talk about the border infrastructure, India with Pakistan, India with China, ये सारे points होंगे. The last is, okay, India's engagement with its neighborhood should be sustained and driven by multilateral and regional mechanisms and groupings. Multilateral and regional mechanisms and groupings. Like, okay, one is SAARC. Number 2 is BBIN, Bhutan, Bangladesh, okay, India, Nepal, BBIN, okay, connectivity mechanism, comma, BIMSTEC, BIMSTEC, BIMST caps में BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative for, देखो, full form is Bay of Bengal Initiative for multi-sectoral, technical and economic cooperation. Bay of Bengal Initiative for multi-sectoral, technical and economic cooperation. ये कंट्रीज हैं, बांग्लादेश, इंडिया, म्यांमार, श्रीलंका, थाईलैंड. Okay. BIMSTEC. They are a sub-part of what's called as Indian Ocean Rim countries. Okay. So it's saying that this collaboration with the neighborhood must happen through these groupings. Don't have it separately. Okay. You have to have groupings, some kind of, okay, forums where you can get together and and try collaborating on some of the projects. So these are the recommendations of the committee. Now, some keyword you have to know. Write down an important point. India's approach with its neighborhood. India's approach with its neighborhood is characterized by one, two, three, four. One is consultation. Number two is non-reciprocity. Number three is achieving tangible outcomes. Next, write down the priority in this approach. The priority in this approach includes enhancing again 1, 2, 3, 4 connectivity, infrastructure, development cooperation, security, and fostering people-to-people contact. ये जो 5-6 वर्ड्स है ना, आपको ऐसे ही याद रखना पड़ेगा. Okay, that the focus is about a consultative process, the focus is non-reciprocal, and the focus is for tangible outcomes. Gyan mat do, we want some outcomes. That we made a dam, X kilometer railway, we made airports, the trade expanded, investments for maybe some activities. Don't just give us ideas which are not measurable. We want tangible outcomes. And for this, the priority kya hai? So connectivity, defense, infrastructure, development, security, and people-to-people contact. Yes, people-to-people. So it's kind of exchange. People-to-people contact. Okay. Next, write down. The following are the objectives under neighborhood first policy. The following are the objectives under the neighborhood first policy. And remember, the main objective kya tha? To develop South Asia as a zone of peace, zone of prosperity, stability, and cooperation. These 4 points, likh lo yahin par, just remind yourself. The key objective is to develop South Asia into a zone of peace, stability, prosperity, and cooperation. So if I ask you, do you think this approach is a security approach? Is this approach a development approach? Or is this approach a political approach? If I ask you one, pick up one. Is this approach an approach of security? Is this approach an approach of development, or the approach is a political approach? It is political. Because see, there are two ways of engaging with any country. Say I want to engage with, say, Saudi Arabia. Some businessman in India can go and talk to businessmen in Saudi Arabia. It can be collaborations of some companies. Okay. It can be collaborations of I'll sell you and buy. Okay. That's a typical approach, which is the role played by private sector. Second could be, I need funds, I need a loan, help me make up a school. Government says, okay, you want school, college, hospitals, I give the funds to you. It becomes a development approach. When you look at security, I'll help you develop your border surveillance, I'll give you arms and ammunitions, I'll give you intelligence. That's a security approach. आप इसमें देख रहे हो, all the three are converging. Security भी है, trade भी है, development भी है. There's also technology here. But all of this is made possible by a proper political approach, where there's a consultation going on, there are national bodies collaborating, the government institutions who are collaborating, and then they decide what we'll do for security, what we'll do for trade or for technology. So the moment it comes under India's foreign policy, it has to be primarily a political approach, which has components of technology, development, and also security. ठीक है? So ये point कहीं पर add करना. Within bracket mention कर लो. I said the objectives are, I mentioned the 4 objectives within bracket add down. All these objectives to be achieved, through a political approach. The following are the components of the policy. What I gave you before were the recommendations of the standing committee. What I'm giving you now is the broader picture now. Okay. Take a list there. Components number 1. It's very important. Ultimately, I say peace. Why peace? The main threat to South Asia is from China. Why do I need Bhutan on my side? Why do I need Sri Lanka on my side? Why do I need Pakistan to be respectful of India's concerns? Why can't afford losing Nepal? Why? Fundamentally, I don't want China to influence them. It's a policy to achieve peace in the region. Okay. The first component is countering Chinese aggression and Chinese ambitions. Chinese aggression and Chinese ambition, both on the land borders and also on the maritime borders. Both on the land borders and maritime borders. Within bracket right now, India has grand ambitions. As the leader of Indian Ocean Rim. And in the Indo-Pacific strategy. China is number 1. Okay. Second point, ensuring territorial integrity. territorial integrity of India and its bordering countries. Number 3, assuring support for India. Assuring support for India as India plays a leadership role. Excuse me. As India plays a leadership role in representing the global south in various multilateral forums. This is a very important thing. Listen. For a long time, ये शुरू से रहा है, even after independence or before independence, India always claimed that we are the leaders of the global south, we are leaders of developing countries, and that we represent the concerns of developing countries, whether it is WTO or IMF or in the UN. In fact, UN this is one of the bargaining points for India. India is a large country, 1.4 billion population, and India represents the developing country interest. So India has a legitimate claim in the permanent Security Council of UN. But problem was, even if we said this, India did not get much support from the global south. The voting pe jayega na, we realized we lost votes to China. In fact, sometimes we have lost votes to Pakistan also. Okay. So all the while I'm saying that I'm fighting for you guys, but when I turn around to see who's behind me, nobody's behind me. In the critical reforms, they don't end up supporting India. Okay. Uska reason main yahi tha that India's investments or India's support for developing countries was largely non-tangible. हम बात करते कल्चर के बारे में, we are same culture, same history, okay, we are same racial groups, both have agricultural economies, okay, we have been exploited, so have you been exploited. We would talk about non-tangible or intangible and sometimes vague concepts. I am a democracy, okay, and let's favor democracy. But it didn't mean that when I want some, say Sri Lanka for example, it's in trouble, it's in crisis, it needs money. And I go and tell them, look, we are about democracy. Okay, look, you and us are same Buddhist culture. You and us have same racial group. We have same legacy of the colonial exploitation. Sri Lanka says, okay, fine, I won't survive. वहाँ पे आएगा China, same हो नहीं हो, ये लो $14 million. Right? This was the problem. So the NFP policy जो India का है, is because of this. That if I'm looking for support in multinational forums and groups and organizations, if I don't help them in terms of roads, in terms of power development, in terms of space, in terms of their hospitals, their education, okay, then they will never support me. So one significant aspect, and that's why the committee says no, that we're investing so much amount of money in them. Let's make sure that we get these projects done timely without the cost overruns. So the objective of NFP is partly that we seek support of the developing countries, which is immediate neighborhood and even extended one. So they can support me when I'm looking for reforms in UN. I'm looking at reforms for IMF, or I want reforms in the WTO. I will have somebody behind me. That's the idea. Okay, so don't see this. Some of you must have had questions that why I'm looking at non-reciprocal. The answer is we are playing a bigger game here. Not 10 rupees liya, 10 rupees वापस करो. I sell for 1 billion, you must buy from me 1 billion. They can never do so. But I can give them the benefit of surplus trade to them. Condition is, help me in my forums. Help me in my agenda of reforms of the bodies. Support me in global non-proliferation treaties India disagrees against. Support me in dealing with problems of terrorism coming from Pakistan. So this is about getting support from the developing countries in the international bodies. Okay? Okay, the next one. The next is addressing energy security. Addressing energy security. देखो एनर्जी के अभी if you look at the conventional ones, यही आपके पास 4 options हैं. One is oil. Okay, I'm looking at gas. I'm looking at HEP and the nuclear part. These are considered as India's, and of course coal also, but यहाँ पर coal issue नहीं है. None of my neighboring countries have enough of coal. If I want HEP, I want Nepal and Bhutan with me. If I want gas, I must have Pakistan with me. There's a TAPI line, from Turkmenistan and Malaysia towards India. So I need Pakistan with me if I need gas security. And for oil, and diesel, I need the sea routes, right? Sea routes means Yemen, Oman, UAE, Iran, they must be aligned with me. If I want to have gas, I said Pakistan. If I need to have HEP, I need Bhutan and Nepal. So the objective of NFP is also India's concerns of energy security. Okay? Write down 2-3 points. HEP security is possible with collaborating with Nepal and Bhutan. With Nepal and Bhutan. Next, gas from gas pipelines across Pakistan and Afghanistan. Gas pipelines across Pakistan and Afghanistan. I think you know this. Russia has the largest resource of gas. So any gas coming to India must come to some pipelines. And pipelines, they must come, they can't come across China or Tibet. The only option is Pakistan, Afghanistan. So I need some collaboration there also. And oil is on the sea. Oil needs Yemen, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Iran, Pakistan, ये पूरा belt चाहिए. If any piracy here, then again oil supply gets cut off. Okay? So this policy is also to ensure India's energy security. Next slide down. Next slide down. Okay. For leveraging India's soft power, for leveraging India's soft power by asserting common cultural heritage. Common cultural heritage across South Asia. Across South Asia. You understand, no? If I'm talking about Buddhism, you can't ignore India, Nepal and Bhutan in Buddhism. And with Buddhism card, I can play with Southeast Asia, with Japan. If you want Hinduism, you can't do without India, Bangladesh and Nepal. Okay, Nepal for long has been a Hindu country. Now, of course, they are moved out in terms of a different model of constitution. Even in Islam, if you want, India needs India, Pakistan, and Indonesia and Bangladesh. They're a huge population. So you want to leverage religions, you need these countries together. Hindi language, Bangla language, very large speakers. You again need this neighborhood. So you cannot assert India's cultural power by ignoring the neighborhood. Okay, I said Buddhism, yeah, absolutely. In Cambodia, Thailand, or India vicinity mein, India, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, of course. There three becomes a very powerful component of Buddhism for the Far East. Okay, so to assert India's soft power also, I need our neighboring countries. Right next. Right next. The neighboring countries are very important for the development of Northeast and India's vision to connect with Southeast Asia. India's vision to connect with Southeast Asia. Then all of you. So what I did was, we have not succeeded there. It's unfortunate that in South Asia, Pakistan becomes a representative of Islam. We look at Muslim population, India has far more. It should not have been Pakistan. It's actually a loss of India's positioning. You leave out Christianity as a major religion. Pakistan religion has substantial number in India. अब बचे ही क्या बताओ? After Christianity, you have got Hinduism, you have got Islam, you have got Buddhism, you have got Jainism. Okay. So on all of them have core population in India. That's one of India's miss. The world should not be seeing Pakistan as the voice of Muslims. Okay. So yeah, Sikhism, you're right. Yoga ठीक है, yoga तो कहीं से भी करा लो. Okay, you don't need neighborhood for yoga. Okay, yeah, it's gone international now. ठीक है? Okay. So if I recall quickly what all we have done till now, check your notes एक बार. So I started with a gradual evolution where India under the Nehruvian model was more global. Okay, it was more about ideas, idealism, disarmament, non-bipolar. But after Nehru, we have become a bit more focused on specific regions. And South Asia focus is relatively new. One of the important chapters of the Modi government has been the neighborhood policy. Okay, he has pursued this very, very aggressively, assertively. But the roots of this goes back to Indira Gandhi, some bit I.K. Gujral, and the word itself was under Manmohan Singh in 2008. Some historical idea must have. ये शुरू कहां से होता है? Then I give a very broad canvas. Why do I need the neighborhood for us? Important क्यों है? Why? Okay, suddenly neighborhood is becoming the most important catchword for us. Why is that? It is because India seeks a global position. India का global ambitions हैं. But the global ambitions will come to naught if I don't manage my borders properly. In fact, यही तो agenda China का है. that keep India trapped in the region. So इतना थका दो पाकिस्तान, नेपाल, बांग्लादेश, भूटान, श्रीलंका में, बाहर क्या ही बात करेगा? Okay, you are drained talking to neighbors alone. This has been a strategy of China. So our counter has to be that we must develop a robust relationship with our neighborhood, so that I can use all of them together as part of my global focus. That's the idea here. So neighborhood ko use karna hai, okay, and the objective is develop the neighborhood as a region of peace, stability, cooperation and prosperity. Okay. Then we talked about how can we do all of this. So I gave you broad heads. Solve the border problems. Let's have people-to-people contact. Let's collaborate with, okay, whatever agencies we can. Let's encourage trade. Let's develop infrastructure. So broadly, list de diya aapko maine. You have an idea about what it is now. Then we moved on towards what has been the recommendation of the standing committee. It's very important because recent hai na, July 23 is very recent here. And you can see, okay, that neighborhood is very important for India in the coming years. Sri Lanka crisis, Maldives issue, Bangladesh, and Nepal has been simmering in some ways. As of now, Bhutan perhaps is the most comfortable relationship with India. In fact, we'll talk about that also. That in this neighborhood first policy, India sees India-Bhutan relationship as a model relationship, where Bhutan doesn't fear us. We don't have any demands on Bhutan. Bhutan is ready to push back China to give India the preference. With Bhutan, we have a free visa regime, and we also develop Bhutan's infrastructures. We promoted Bhutan's democracy. So for the neighborhood, India-Bhutan relationship is a model relationship. So I'll discuss that when we move towards Bhutan. Then we talked about what are the key words under the approach of India. Approach is, okay, it has to be based on consultation. Important words हैं. Consultation, non-reciprocal, and has to be, okay, tangible outcomes. Okay, ये तीनों word important है. And the area of priority are connectivity, security, development, energy, people contact, and so on. Whatever I give as a list, उसको वैसे ही याद रखना. What are the approaches and the priorities of the relationship? Then I list down the significance of, okay, this relationship, and significance from India's perspective. Okay, the significance is that we want security, leverage our border infrastructure. We're looking at India representing and having support of developing countries. India has energy issues. India and Northeast. Take all done here? Okay. Now move on. Oh, it's 45. You want a 5 minutes break? Yes? Online students? I always say this, online को क्या break जरूरत है? You carry your laptop with you wherever you go. Just ensure कि पानी ना गिरे उस पे. No need? Yeah, but often guys cannot do that, no? So go take a break. It's 10:45 by my watch. You can take a 5 minutes break. And come back. Don't take your bags. Waiting for breakfast. We're having Pakistan for breakfast, man. Come on. Pakistan, Sri Lanka, China for breakfast. Aryan is asking me, class kab tak hai? This question only happens when the fees is not paid. When the fees is paid, you want more of it. Gaurav, we run these on the YouTube to tell you about what we do, not to finish your course on YouTube. Will I help in IR? Saurav, if you are part of the course, okay, IR is part of the offering. If not a part of the course, okay, then we'll have this for a couple of days, then you stop. So quite a few queries here. No, Priyansh, monthly magazines won't do. Total class of IR approximately 12 to 15 classes. Yes, Rajvardhan, Cosmos is on. It's now called as Geography and Environment Current Affairs. क्या पूछ रहे हो? What is HCS? I didn't get your question. Singh. Break for 5 minutes, Nidhi. Then come back in 5 minutes. Priyansh, now it is NFP. Gujarat Doctrine is part of NFP now. Priyansh, I think I missed out your point. Yes, I didn't see while it was hidden, the chats. I didn't realize ki you all are writing in. Okay. For Haryana Civil Services, I don't know, but I have no clue about the syllabus there. If you think this is relevant for you, you can continue. Then continue, no worries. We'll have IR in 2 batches. We'll have it now for 1 week, 10 days. We'll take a break with polity going on. We'll again come back with IR. It's a smaller topic. We put this within the bigger unit, like polity or economy. Take a break. I'm sitting here. In doubts, you can ask me. Chahat, line of credit. We said 2014, our investments were about 3 billion, and by 2021-22, it was more than 15 billion. 2014, it was about 3 billion. By 21-22, it has been more than 15 billion. No, Ganesh, it will not. We will ensure that. The times are set that ways. Yes, absolutely. We are saying no people to people contact. That includes the cultural exchange. No, Aryan. If you're part of geography optional, the entire IR is there for you. Okay, we start back again now. Others will join us when they have to. The last discussion, likh lo. Okay. What are the challenges in NFP? What are the challenges in NFP, Neighborhood First Policy? Okay. Point number one. It is still very early. Okay. Since 2014-15, and hence neighboring countries still harbor their suspicions. The neighboring countries still harbor their suspicion. Okay? So what I'm saying is, this idea that India is non-reciprocal, India is committed to your security, India committed to your trade, India will develop your infrastructure. These countries still don't believe India completely. Okay, and one big reason is, okay, the time is very short. 8-9-10 saal is a very small time in any foreign policy. So maybe after 10-15 years more, then these countries will develop a bit more trust with us. Right now, I said no, Maldives is in some suspicions. Sri Lanka, despite all the relationship we had, China has a priority there. Bangladesh is melting away. Whatever gains India had made, with Sheikh Hasina out of power, India has lost some edge. And in particular, the opposition in Bangladesh sees India is sheltering Sheikh Hasina. They want her to get extradited back to Bangladesh. Yes. And Pakistan, you know what it has been always. Nepal has also gone partly China way. Bhutan is also not very committal. Now Bhutan wants some bit of arrangement. Very interestingly, Bhutan does not have an embassy in China. They have got no formal diplomatic relationship with China. Unka wo line hi nahi hai. But now Bhutan says we want to be independent. Like Bhutan now says, we will not take India's permission in our foreign trade anymore. So all the countries are in turmoil types. The challenge is India must remain invested so that the countries can ultimately trust India in the long run. Okay, write down. So usi mein add karo. Next paragraph add that most of the countries in India's neighborhood have a troubled relationship with India. have a troubled relationship with India. Okay. So in Maldives, we have India out slogan. In Sri Lanka, they have not been very, very accepting of India, despite India giving them aid during the crisis. Okay, right on these points here. Maldives has India out policy under Muizzu government, Muizzu. Sri Lanka has been very cautious with India. Post Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh now has stronger anti-India sentiments. Bangladesh has strong anti-India sentiments. India does not engage with Nepal as much. इंडिया का ना एक बहुत दो मिस्टेक हो गया विद नेपाल, और आई से दो मिस्टेक था, एंड वन वाज India asserting itself. In 2015, as a part of Nepal's constitution making and disagreements with India, India had a long blockade of Nepal. Okay, they kind of sealed the borders, and Nepal did not get any oil, food supply, सब बंद कर दिया इंडिया ने. It was almost like a blockade, say you lock them inside a fort. And Nepal got very, very, very upset there, because Nepal depends for everything on India. Why Nellore will come to India-Nepal, but a high-level discussion में, in Nepal, there are Nepali population of the hill areas, and there are Indian population in the plains of Nepal, right? Terai region mein. This is Terai of Nepal, the plains of Nepal, the Himalayas of Nepal. Here we have the actual Nepali population who are indigenous of Nepal. Here we have Indian origin. See, although I say Indian origin, का मतलब नहीं कि सारी इंडिया से आए हुए हैं. I'm talking about centuries ago. Okay, they are called as Madheshi. Madheshis they are called. Madheshis are more prosperous. Madheshis own agricultural land, and Madheshis have a strong relationship with India. Their marriages happen across the border, the trade happens across the border. If you ever enter this part of Nepal, you'll not even know India ki Nepal hai. Okay, except that the number plates of cars change. Otherwise, they speak Hindi, they speak Nepali, they speak Bhojpuri, they speak languages, local dialects. Okay, so the Nepali hill population sees them as Indians, as Indian migrants occupying Nepali land. But understand that these populations are not recent. After centuries purane hai. It's like the Tamils in Sri Lanka are not Tamils who went to Sri Lanka a couple of years ago. They are there for the last couple of centuries, right? Time of Ashoka. Okay, and we had people moving towards Sri Lanka. And in the constitution of Nepal, the Madheshis were not given rights. They're kind of prosecuted. You want Nepali votes, you must blame them for all problem and support them for all problem. Okay, so, and they become India's headache then. They'll end up in India. So India says, how can you do that? This is part of your country. You give them both rights. So when Nepal did not do that, India said, okay, then there are conflicts. India blocked the road. It's almost like forcing them to do what India telling them. Nepal got very jittery with that. Because they realized that सब कुछ तो इंडिया से आता है ना. If Nepal wants to trade also, it must come across India to the ports. Because Nepal is landlocked country. So Nepal said, only India is bad. They start going towards China now. China says, हम तो पूरा कर देंगे आपका. I'll make a bullet train across Himalayas to your place. मौका तो दो हमें. And remember, they can do it. China has a bullet train to Tibet Lhasa from Beijing. Okay. So Nepal has gone. A second mistake tha. India made a 70-80 kilometer road towards Mansarovar. And the road goes through parts of Nepal. But India Parliament mein, our minister said, the road is entirely in India. That upset Nepal very badly. Okay. And Nepal said, ye sara land India has taken, it's our land. And they had the issue with Kalapani River, okay, Lepkule Pass, that continues. एक third काम कर दिया हमने without we realizing the repercussion of it. In the new India's parliament, we have a huge map of Akhand Bharat. Akhand Bharat, which has Nepal, Tibet, Afghanistan, Pakistan, पूरा एक बता दिया. This is Akhand Bharat. That has upset all our neighbors. India says, no, this is symbolic of culture. They said, यार parliament में लगा रखे हो, वही मिला देगा आपको दिखाने के लिए your culture. So now all of them are concerned. Does India also have expansionist agenda or not? I mean, I think it wasn't to provoke actually. It was innocence of our political leaders. उनको पता ही नहीं चला क्या कर गए. ठीक है? But these things get votes no in India. If you show Tibet पूरा आधा China India का था in the times of Bimbisara. जा ढूंढते रहो क्या किया था बिम्बिसारा ने. Okay. Yes, and Gautam Buddha legacy India claims. Okay, and Lumbini is in Nepal. So all of that has been an issue. So these countries, they don't trust India. Okay, India probably is worse than China. China बता देता है कि हम आए पैसे लेने आए हैं. Okay, हम लेंगे and we'll ensure that okay we will invest in you. That's about it. They're saying India is playing a double game. Okay, प्यार से गले मिल रहे हैं, पता नहीं हाथ में छुरा है कि क्या है. Okay, so we have done things okay where they are suspecting us. Exactly. India, they see India as expansionary. हालांकि India doesn't have a history of waging wars unilaterally. Okay, but then like I said, some things are transition. Start हुआ है. Hopefully it will be better in couple of years. So this is one problem. Okay. तो यहाँ पर within just bracket mention this. India's blockade of Nepal. India's blockade of Nepal. Okay, comma. India's interference in Sri Lanka's civil war. India's interference in Sri Lanka's civil war, comma, India supporting Sheikh Hasina, are some reasons why India is still not trusted. India is not much trusted, not as trusted. Yes, correct. India has played a role in Nepal's politics also. Okay, ठीक है, you have an idea now. This is one challenge, how to overcome that image problem. That India is friendly, India will help you. They don't trust India right now. But yes, COVID में जो vaccination campaign चलाया था हमने, that was received very, very positively by all the countries. That Maitri project that we had, that was a good thing that we did. And this India supporting in the disasters, cyclones, so earthquakes, so in Afghanistan, in Nepal, okay, in Bangladesh, in Seychelles, in Sri Lanka. That has helped India maintain some. यहीं पे add कर लो. However, the recent support from India under a vaccine diplomacy, comma, humanitarian aid under disaster management, comma, India extending its space launch technologies, have had a positive impact. So that's one challenge. The second challenge, countering Pakistan's support of terrorism and insurgency in Kashmir and Punjab. The third, an aggressive and expansionist China. And China trying to counter India's global ambitions. All neighboring countries have joined China's OBOR, One Belt, One Road, have joined China's OBOR and Maritime Silk Route Strategy. ये जानते हो आप लोग? Okay, so China has a grand plan for connecting Asia through roads, ports, railways. Okay, they call this as One Belt, One Road, short also called as BRI, Belt Road Initiative, okay, across Central Asia. Okay, so if China invests in the roads and railways, they control lot of economy of Central Asian countries. इसका part Bhutan भी है. Okay, it includes Afghanistan, it includes Uzbekistan, and sea route में they call this as the Maritime Silk Route, which includes Maldives, it includes Sri Lanka. Okay, so it's like China has managed, okay, to corner India between these two projects. No, Anu, लिखने के लिए बहुत कुछ होगा. You can ignore Akhand Bharat mural in the answer. ठीक है, some lines will draw. Some things you should know, but don't talk about it. Okay, ऐसे बोलते हैं ना कि इंटरव्यू में tell us about your weakness. अब सब थोड़ी बोल दोगे वहां खड़े होके. सब गुस्सा भी करता हूं, 2-3 को मर्डर कर दिया हूं, okay, 1-2 को भगा ले आया हूं. जरूरत नहीं है. Okay, इतना भी ऑनेस्टी बेवकूफी हो जाता है. You know about it, but we don't speak about it, not as much. ठीक है? So China is a major problem for India. Okay, and Chinese investments are very deep. Okay, they can build roads, they can build ports, they can invest in energy. Okay, they can do whatever it takes to control the countries around India. Okay, third, India has kind of accepted that SARC is defunct. It has accepted that SARC is defunct. SARC is defunct, not working anymore. It's defunctional. SARC is a defunct. SARC is dead types. India has been building alternative forums and collaborations. India has been building alternative forums and collaborations. Okay? जैसे BIMSTEC है, जैसे ऐसे BBIN है, and it deliberately keeps Pakistan and Afghanistan out. दोनों में पाकिस्तान नहीं है और दोनों में अफगानिस्तान भी नहीं है. This is Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand. Okay, and you have Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal. BBIN is a kind of a connectivity treaty. They'll make a common road around this. ठीक है? So इससे क्या हो रहा है? Leaving out Pakistan is compromising India's the neighborhood strategy. Leaving out Pakistan is compromising India's neighborhood strategy. That's why the standing committee says, start ties with Pakistan also. You have to start some economic ties, some trade must start. Don't isolate Pakistan, because it'll all the more push Pakistan towards China. That's one. Next challenge likho. Next. The Central Asian crisis, such as Afghanistan में Taliban, development crisis in Uzbekistan, has spillover effects. The same for Myanmar's politics impacting Bangladesh. Same for Myanmar's politics impacting Bangladesh. I hope you know Rohingyas, the largest camp is in Bangladesh. तो ये नए डायमेंशंस हैं. Next slide down. India and its neighborhood are in close proximity with the Golden Triangle and the Golden Crescent. The Golden Triangle and the Golden Crescent. Do you know what these are? These are those areas of drug trades and, drug money, correct. So Golden Triangle India के east में है, which is Myanmar, Thailand and Laos. Thailand, Myanmar, Laos. It's called as the drug triangle. So a lot of smuggling of drugs happens towards India. And the Golden Crescent is Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. It's like an arc. So India is vulnerable to drug trades. In fact, lot of trade passes through India. They enter from Myanmar across India, export, enter from Pakistan side across India and export. India is like beach mein hai. So that makes India's position critical. Write down that Indian borders are also susceptible to illegal arms trade. They are susceptible to illegal arms trade. ये एक चैलेंज है. नेक्स्ट चैलेंज, China maintains its pressure on India. China maintains its pressure on India through Bhutan. Through Bhutan. Put a hyphen. The Doklam standoff, D-O-K-L-A-M, Doklam standoff, and through Sakteng, S-A-K-T-E-N-G, Sakteng Sanctuary, S-A-K-T-E-N-G, Sakteng Sanctuary in eastern Bhutan. So Bhutan में क्या है? Bhutan and China's borders are not well demarcated. Okay, there are a lot of parts of Bhutan that China claims. Okay, some part in western side, some in north, some. I'll talk about this when I talk about Bhutan. Okay, और यहीं पर somewhere here ऐसे सिक्किम है, Bhutan, it goes like this, and so on. So this place, this area here, this is called as Doklam. यहीं पर है, the Highland Plateau. And if you know about India's map, this is a narrow Siliguri corridor. Okay, ये बहुत narrow है, approximately just about 22 kilometers का thickness है. So if China comes here and sits down, okay, it kind of oversees this part of India. ये अगर बंद कर देता है China, the northeast gets cuts off completely. Okay, this is the pressure from China side. यहाँ पर there is a sanctuary. Okay. This map is like this. Somewhere here एक sanctuary है, border में भी नहीं है, अंदर है, called as Sakteng Sanctuary. What China is doing is, it's saying, let us exchange. Okay, this part you keep, but give this to me, China says. Okay, because China knows यहाँ पर क्या बिगाड़ लेगा Bhutan. Okay, even if Bhutan says we demarcate here, China can come in any time it wants to come in. But if it has this place here, it looks into Arunachal Pradesh here. You know about this area called as, यहाँ पर Tawang Valley है, the Tawang Valley of Arunachal Pradesh, and China wants this one. It has a lot of significance, Dalai Lama and all of that. So China keeps on wanting Sakteng, and it wants this one, and Bhutan is struggling to deal with it. Bhutan का अपना army नहीं है ना, is India supporting it. So this is an issue. Okay, and with this what happens? See, अभी India का relationship Bhutan से ही best है, but it's a matter of time Bhutan can succumb. इतना डालेगा pressure. Okay, Bhutan also says क्या क्या कर रहे हैं बताओ. Okay, so China continues to apply pressure in the northeast, okay, by disputing claims on Doklam and Sakteng Sanctuary. तो ये एक challenge है. Read further. The challenge to South Asia, is also poverty. And low human development. poverty and low human development. That makes the region vulnerable to Chinese investments. That makes the region vulnerable to Chinese investments. All good? So broadly, what is neighborhood first policy? What is its significance? What are the areas of cooperation and priorities? What has India done in some ways? What has India done? We'll take a country by country. What India has done with Sri Lanka, with Bangladesh, with Bhutan, with Pakistan, हम एक एक करके ले उठाएंगे. What are the recommendations of the standing committee? And what are the challenges of the neighborhood first policy? Yes, वो भी एक factor है. See, end of the day, what happens is, man is rarely very rational. Okay, बहुत कुछ, what man does is emotional. So with the rise of BJP and a bit of Hindu nationalism, most of these neighbors have again got wary. Sri Lanka asserts its Buddhist nationalism. Pakistan was full of Islamic nationalism. Now Bangladesh is seeing unfortunate and terrible communal violence. We have problems same in Maldives. Bhutan can go aggressive with its Buddhism. So this is another challenge that we have. While culture should have been our advantage in terms of diversity, unfortunately it has now become one of our problems. Yeah, the Citizenship Amendment Act जो था, Bangladesh didn't take it very well. It saw that as interfering with Bangladesh's policy itself. ठीक है, you can mention that also, no problem. The rise of, last point, one more challenge है, the rise of militant cultural nationalism. The rise of militant cultural nationalism. Has resulted in conflicts, violence, which is not as easily manageable with diplomacy. Which is not as easily manageable with diplomacy. ठीक है? My guess, in the coming mains next year, this could be an important discussion point. बहुत दिन से पूछा नहीं, directly only on this. So once I finish off some substantial part, I'll discuss some of the questions also. अभी आप इतने ही रखो stated questions में. Yes, I'll discuss country also. So tomorrow I'll take up Bhutan. I'll try finishing South Asia. Bhutan, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल, श्रीलंका, ये 4 मेन है. पाकिस्तान पूछता नहीं है, टू मच ऑफ सब्जेक्टिविटी देयर, बट ये 4 तो कर ही देंगे हम. ठीक है? Okay then, that's for today. Tomorrow we continue at 8:30. Optional students and GS also, yeah.